We'll go bang. Matty Markham, welcome back to on loose lines, over the ditch. I've got too many shows going on. Firstly, mate, welcome back.
Man of many hats, you are, Paul. As we well know, nice to be with you again. Another good week of racing over on this side of the ditch over the last sort of 5 to 7 days, and we've got another big weekend ahead of us again. So looking forward to sinking the teeth into seeing what we can come up with.
It has been a great week. We mentioned last week about not as promised though. Exciting to see him win again on Saturday night, the heat of the Breeders' Crown. It's so exciting. This horse is going to be in New Zealand. I think he flies out tomorrow, so he'll be on the North Island tomorrow and the South Island early next week. So pretty exciting. He was a super win, and he's a great story for everyone involved.
He's got an effortless way of going, isn't he? He sort of covers the ground nicely, and he's coming over to take on a pretty good crop of 3-year-old trotters, but as times and the manner in which he wins, he's going to be more competitive. As we said last week, he just adds another aspect to Grand Prix Day in about what are we now, 10 days' time. That little bit of Australian flavour as we saw during Cup Week. So looking forward to seeing him up close and in the flesh.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just trying to make sure we've got audio going through, which I can't check with that one, but it'll be fine if everyone's watching. We've got people watching, so Emily will be on, no doubt about that. So get involved, send the questions through, and you can go from there. No, it does add a different aspect, I think, to the Grand Prix. It's what the Breeders' Crown is missing. There was no Kiwi horses in that series, and that's the disappointing part. And that's, I think, further emphasises the fact that there's going to be so many Australians watching Grand Prix Day. The Kiwis weren't watching Breeders' Crown Day, so we need to be able to build the product and get the what we all love out there on the stage for so many people.
Yeah, it's been a topic of conversation over the past week, how do we reinvigorate the Breeders' Crown, and I'll go a step further and go how do we reinvigorate the Dominions too, because obviously very minimal New Zealand impact, if any, apart from being New Zealand breed runners within that series as well. So pretty high-profile people that were weighing in on that discussion on social media over the week around the Crown. And if you've got Twitter, I'd recommend jumping on and having a look, because it was quite an interesting thread to see what people's thoughts were around how we can, get it back to the days where it used to be. And I think a lot of that, as I say, flows down to the Dominion too, because as much as I hate to say it, I feel like it's a dying thing, and that's maybe just because I'm looking at it from this side of the Tasman, where there's no real New Zealand interest that makes me want to, get involved and get excited and sit back and watch it all.
No, absolutely, Matty. I think I've got your audio. I've got both audios going through twice. I'm just not sure. Just going to try something, and hopefully I can still hear you. If you could talk for me, mate.
I think we might be right, are we?
Yeah, so I do apologise for that. That's better. I had it going through twice, so that's a lot better now. Just had a technical issue at the start. So, yeah, you're right. And I put the message out there about 3 weeks ago, because one of the odd things that a lot of people aren't aware of with the Breeders' Crown, the Trotters only had heats and finals. The Pacers over here, they had heats, semis, and then finals. There was less Pacers except than what there was Trotters. So the whole thing is just, before people have realised, has really disintegrated into a very ugly little sort of race series, if you like, that shouldn't be. It's a time-honoured race series, and it's just got out of control. And I think that's the biggest thing. Some people need to be realistic about some of the things that they're expecting. Like, one thing I see quite regularly, I live in Bendigo. People say, put it back at Bendigo. I'm sorry, that ain't going to fix it. It might put a Band-Aid on it for a year. People might say, oh, it's great that it's back at Bendigo, but it needs a lot more help than that. Needs restructuring, reinvigorating, and make it so the Kiwis want to be there. But we also have to put it on a time when the Kiwis can be there. Don't try and compete with the New Zealand Cup, because it ain't moving, it ain't going anywhere, and it doesn't have to.
No, you're right, and that's probably the bottom line of it all. And I think it is those discussions need to be happening, across the Tasman between each other when it comes to setting down major carnivals, because we want as many Aussies over here as we possibly can, and you want as many Kiwis over competing in your series. Yeah. Everything's got a shelf life, is the way it is. We saw it a little bit with the harness jewels over here. It got a little bit stale after a while. And obviously there was a lot of outcry when they were axed, but it's now become a thing of the past, and we don't want to see the Breeders' Crown go to the same way. So those conversations need to be happening, and they need to be happening pretty urgently. Otherwise, there is the risk that the Breeders' Crown will just fall to one side, like the harness jewels did over here.
Yep, absolutely, and we need to get it bigger and better. The likes of Amanda Cullen is watching, a few other people. So if you are watching and you want to get any questions out there, get involved. It was actually good to see Hayden got his first winner back out training on his own right, if you like. It's not his first winner by any stretch in his own right, but just this reinvigorated new phase of his life. So good to see him getting the chockies the other day. We will touch on that meeting in a minute. Big week. We had a big week of racing just gone, Maddie. We're going to highlight Timaru when we get to that. But some pretty big achievements at the start of the week. The houses, Manawa 2. So we've got to go right back to Tuesday, which is pretty cool. We were live last week when Manawa 2 were about to start. But the guys, they had Thursday. We did do the Tuesday. I think we might have covered off on the Tuesday. Don't know. Not sure either.
No, we hadn't kicked in then.
No, we hadn't. Sorry. So they got a treble on the Tuesday. Then they got another treble on the Thursday. They'd never had a treble before. And then they went to Rangiora on in the middle, which is the Wednesday. Very confusing, this. And both drove a winner there as well. Well, Michael trained two effectively, and both drove one. What a great week for a small team of, well, they're not a small team, but a good team of horses.
Yeah, exactly. And typical of Mickey, well-placed horses in the right races and getting the results. One of his winners on Wednesday at Rangiora, 6 Jewel, is a very, very nice 3-year-old trotting filly. She actually goes around in the Group 1 New Zealand Trotting Oaks this Friday night at Addington. So she's probably in a completely different realm to some of the other horses that they won with during the week, although there was a little bit of history because Ask Me Lazarus became the first Lazarus New Zealand winner. I think I saw a story there somewhere along that line. I'm reeling off the top of my head. Wilson has morphed into this very, very accomplished driver over here. He's really rocketed his way up the ranks probably in the last 6 to 12 months, I feel. His driving level has gone to another level, I guess is probably the best way to put it. But someone put on Twitter, it might have been Garrett Knight last week, they were sitting there watching the Manawa 2 meeting and going, is that Blair Orange driving Michael House's horses wearing Wilson House's gear? Because it was like that. The way Blair used to drive Michael's horses when they go to Manawa 2 and win 7 or 8 in a week kind of thing. Wilson was driving them with confidence and getting the results, and good to see. Mickey plays such a big part in our industry and horse numbers, as well as his work away from the track and the various roles that he's in with HRNZ at the moment. So, he always thrives at Manawa 2, but it's good to see him getting winners all around the country at the moment too.
And for people that aren't aware, what you did Dr. Google there before, what is it, a 10-hour drive from Manawa 2 back to Rangiora? So 20 hours.
11, I think.
11 hours. So Wilson would have spent the best part of a day going backwards and forwards, which is a huge commitment.
Yeah, well, he may have flown. There is that option available to him, but there is potential that he drove back as well. And there's so much at the mercy of the weather gods there because there's a ferry crossing between Picton and Wellington that they've got to factor in. And it only takes a couple of metre swells for the Kiwis to start feeling a little bit seasick and, delaying those trips and things like that. But, great week for them. And they've got a really nice team of horses at the moment. And they're going to win a lot of races over summer.
No, absolutely. Did you say Styx Jewel was the one that's going to go around the Oaks?
It is, yeah. She won the maiden trot at Rangiora on Wednesday. She's a real high-speed filly. I really love the way she covers the ground, and she's got a lot of ability. But she's going to have to carry all of that into Friday night because that's a very good trotting oaks.
Yep, and we will touch on that in a sec. Six starts, and that's her first win. So just starting to get it right at the right time of the year, and that's what we do want. Manawa 2, I did see Anna Donnelly brought up her 300th winner. Zeph Meredith had a good couple. I think he had a couple of doubles. There's some good winners there. Anna, I think, had 3 or 4 for the carnival as well. So, or the 2 days. Is it classed as a carnival because they don't race there weekly?
No, they don't race there weekly, but they race there frequently and have those 2-day meetings because of the travel for horses to get there from either Cambridge or Auckland or from the South Island. They generally make it worthwhile by hosting a 2-day meeting, and they don't have as many as what they used to, but there are still a number of them in the calendar for trainers to target. Anna's 300, she would be one of the rising stars of the training ranks in New Zealand, I feel, Anna, especially over the last couple of years. You know, the emergence of the Kangos and the Typos, and then we've seen Jolly Monts and the like La Major within this season alone. She's going to win a lot more races than 300. I've got no doubt about that. And her horses always look fantastic. I love the way that she turns her team out, and she's getting the results on the track too.
Yeah, and she's awesome. I find it terrific to deal with, and that even in trying circumstances with Kango and the likes here in Australia, she was still open and happy to chat about it, and got a good team of horses. I think we will touch on, but Jolly Mont has drawn a favourable draw, I believe, on Friday night, so that's a better result for her there anyway, but we'll get to that. Rangiora, the rest of that carnival, was there anything out of that you wanted to highlight, mate?
Oh, you're testing the memory bank. We're going back a wee while. I was flicking through a few results. One result that I thought was pretty heartwarming actually was come later in the day, race number 7, Justin and Lynn Smith from Tiparita, which won't mean anything to most people out there. It's a small little settlement on the northern banks of the Rakaia River, and now Lynn and Justin, part of a dynasty of breeding trotters in New Zealand, and they've combined for a stable, Cornella, with Beyond the Horizon, and Looks Like a Trickster. Leo O'Reilly did the driving on Beyond the Horizon. So this is the stable that produced a very good trotting mare a number of years back called Some Direction, who won a New Zealand trotting free for all on Cup Day. Yep. And a couple of these are actually direct descendants of hers. So I thought that was a really cool result because they cleared out, and what were they? They were 7-7 in the betting and 9-8 in the betting. So stable Cornellas are always good. Especially when you only train a small team of horses. They've got a really nice maiden that'll win a race at short notice too, called Shoemaker, to keep an eye out for in the coming weeks.
Good name and a good result from. They owned the whole box and dice. They took the whole kitty home, which is, apart from the drive, but I'm sure if Justin could have drove both, he would have liked to have too. So, yeah, good result. The other one was Mia Holbrook, I'll go with. Young lady has only had... What did I look at? I cheated before and looked it up. 14 starts, and now that's her second win. So well done for her. I think is she the young lady that helps out the Hopes?
She is. I first come across Mia, incidentally, last year at the Cromwell Circuit, which you're going to be a part of this coming year, Paul. She was kicking around helping out the Williamson family, Brad, and was with Kieran Tomlinson and the like. Obviously got family up in Canterbury, so she's moved up and she's working for Greg and Nina Hope. I think she's got a big future in the sulky. She sits really well on the cart. She's very kind to the horses, and they clearly run for her. And if you get a chance to go back and have a look at the Crystal Delight win, do so, because it was no chance at the top of the straight. And Mia was very patient, waited for the horse to find its feet, let it balance up, and would have been a bit of a thrill winning your second race and running down Blair Orange in the run to the line, because as we will talk about soon, Blair Orange was red hot last week. Well,
he was indeed. We will go to Invercargill. We'll start with Blair, 5 wins. And I looked his stats up, and I'll actually bring them up. He's not having his best year, but he possibly nearly, in a way, is, because he hasn't driven anywhere near the numbers, and he's not going to get to those numbers. He's had 800 and what number would I want that one there? 884 drives for 150 wins. You can see down there a little bit further, he's had 200 wins in that end of season, but he's at 33%, or better than 33% in the top 3. Just an amazing stat, that in itself.
Yeah, it is. He is the best in the business over here. Tactically, his ability to put horses in the right spot. He won a race on Saturday at Timaru on a horse called Delness, Arizona, who had won once in 97 starts, I think. He's jumped on it, and it's delivered at about 17-1 on Saturday. You know, he's giving, doesn't matter whether he's driving $1.10 shots for Mark and Nathan Purden at Addington on a Friday night, or he's driving, 100 start, 1 winners at Timaru on a Saturday. He gives them every possible. He did have a little bit of time away this year, obviously, when he went over to the World Drivers' Championship. It wasn't an extended amount of time, but yeah, he's heading into one of the busiest times of the year at a pretty good strike rate and in pretty good form.
Yep, absolutely. All good. He enjoys the Summer Carnival, I think, too, doesn't he? I think I saw some social media posts last year. He enjoys it.
He does, and I think everyone enjoys it. We go through now where we're pretty much double headers every weekend in Canterbury, and you get down to, you head over to the Westport circuit just over Christmas, and then Central, but then it's up to the top of the South Island for Nelson and Blenheim, and I know that's a really special time for a lot of the families because they actually take that week break and they stay up there and spend some time as families just relaxing, getting away from the game for a little bit, and I think it's well deserved, and I'm sure they welcome it every year as well.
Another man who knows his way around a sulky, although doesn't drive very often, Mark Jones. He won the first on what day was it? The Thursday it was too, at Invercargill with a young trotter, Paramount Lady, beautifully bred. It's a 3/4, I think, to Muscle Mountain. So one beautifully bred. Interesting to see him back into the sulky. Obviously, I'd say the trotter might have been giving him a little bit of grief, and he wanted to find out a little bit more about it.
I think he just wanted to show people that he's still got it. Yeah, he's having a good year in the sulky, Mark. He's running at a 50% strike rate of winning.
Yep.
He's had 10 drives for 5 wins. She's been a trouble horse, Paramount Lady, I think, for him, but they've been patient with her and allowed her to find her feet, and her residual value, given her breeding, is quite valuable. So they're going to have a lot of fun with her, both on the track and off the track. And then he come out a little bit later on, and just to show everyone up, he won on Ko-Fi Sunset, who I don't think's trotted in its last 15 starts. Well, he had it in front bowling along, and it never looked like getting beat. So good day for Mark. We don't see him in the card enough. He's more focused on the training side of things. He's got a team of gallopers as well that he trains, so that keeps him pretty busy. And he's got the services of, Sam Otley sitting there, Gemma Thornley's in the stable, and then in the past he uses people like Ricky May and Blair Orange when he needs to. So he feels he's better served doing the training side of things and letting them do the business in the car.
Poor old Sam, she's knocking on the door for, is it 700 or 800? Anyway, she's on 9.9, I know that. And he goes and takes 2 of them. He could have been nice and give her one of the drives back.
Yeah, well, I don't think she would have been very happy to wake up on Sunday morning and see a big story on HRNZ about Sam Otley on 699 going into the day, because as a journalist who's written a number of those stories over the years, I know that by the end of the day, the person that you're talking about is usually abusing you because you put the mocker on them. But hey, it's only a matter of days until she gets there, and what an incredible achievement for the woman who is going to be, at this stage, New Zealand's most successful reins woman of all time. And to be fair, it's probably hard to see her getting, usurped in the next decade at least.
Yep, no, definitely. Ollie Kite, young junior, got another winner. He's got, I think, 14 winners. I did check that out before too. Where is it? 20. No, that was his 20th career win. He's got good young bloke. The only time I met him, he might have had a sleep in, so I can't let him forget that. So he was like, but works for Nathan and does a good job. So it was good to see him getting a winner. And there was one other one that I thought I might have missed something. Was there anything else at Invercargill? There was an odd one that I saw, and I wanted to highlight that.
Itoji was a very good one, the one that Ollie won on for Nathan. He was obviously a big figure purchase out of the Brendan McClellan stable. Some people might remember him as the horse that broke the mobile arm on debut and then went out to win. He was purchased for big money by Mick Boots, I believe, into Nathan's stable, and interestingly enough, it was funny reading some comments from Nathan after the line that he wasn't that happy with the horse, despite the fact that it won. He probably thought it should have won better, so he was off to get some blood tests and things done just to see where the horse is at. So they've got a big rap on him, Itoji. He's a big freewheeling pacer, typical of what you used to see out of Southland all the time, being purchased by Canterbury stables or Australian stables, and I'm sure Nathan will sort him out and he'll go on and do a good job.
No, absolutely. He's tickering along with a nice stable, isn't he, Nathan? He just needs everything to fall in the right spot, and he's going to have a ripping day or a ripping couple of weeks the way they're ticking along.
Well, usually the Williamson families are the ones to follow over the Christmas New Year period from about the middle of December to the end of January, and doesn't matter whether it's Phil, Brad, Maddie or Nathan, they're going to be winning trotting races pretty much every day just by sheer weight of numbers in most cases. But Nathan's got a really nice team. Obviously we talked about the Dreams Are Free horse, who obviously won a couple of weeks ago, the brother to Don't Stop Dreaming, but he's got his nice trotter Hidden Talent back in at Addington this week. So exciting times for Nathan. One of the great horsemen in New Zealand. I feel Nathan, he does a great job with his horses, and again, he's another one who turns them out just looking sensational.
He's more affectionately known as a goat. I think as much as his driving ability, it's also the his pull shark ability too. I think is one of those things. So anyone going down there for over Christmas, don't take him on a pull. Just a word of warning to any of the Aussies because he's a bit of a shark, they tell me. So yeah, Auckland Friday night. Nikki Chilcott, she's got herself a lovely 2-year-old. I do Lou, son of Sweet Lou. I think that's a second win. Got a very good opinion of it, and it's doing everything right for her.
Yeah, it was interesting. She said she didn't think it was much chop until she started taking it off the place, and it's gone 3 from 3. And that's a very, very good performance to win last Friday night because she stepped it up from taking on some Cambridge fields to taking on some pretty race-hard and intermediate grade horses. Mickey Shan's a pretty fair horse. Lincoln River's a very good horse. Frankie Major, who was in there as well, is a pretty handy horse. So it's a big effort. 3-year-old filly just continues this great one of Sweet Lou that we're having over here at the moment. He's winning races at pretty much every race meeting and starting to really leave his mark.
It is indeed. As I said, Diamond Creek, they called it the year of the Lou, and they're in America, so that's sort of what it's at. Yeah, the NZB sales catalogue is out now. You reckon I'd have that one on? I didn't have it there at all. It is out there now, and make sure you get in touch with that because that's one of the things that's going to be on offer. Not as many Sweet Loos as what people would be aware of coming up, but make sure you keep your eye out for that. The NZB yearling sales. There's a couple of horses we will highlight. We're going to get to one in a sec when we get to Timaru. Anything else out of Auckland? Monica Ranger got the chockies on that the horse Lady of the Night, Lady of the Light, sorry, which has been going terrific for her. And anything else out of there that I've missed? Jason T's got the winner.
Jason, yeah, I was going to touch on Jason. He's having a fantastic run at the moment. Noble Count won on Friday night for him. He had a double at Cambridge, I think the week before that. He's 9 wins for the season, Jason, from just 40 starters too. So he's hitting at a pretty good strike rate with 7 placings in there as well. And he's got a nice wee team of horses to follow over the summer months. Not afraid to line them up. Noble Count's been one of those consistent performers who you'd always sort of catch running home nicely for second or third and things like that. So it was good to see it get a deserved win.
Yep, and that's it. I had 22 starts and it's finally got its first win for him. So take a little bit of the frustration away. Radio. Great to see you Kiwis. This is a little bit of fishing. Anyone out there wondering, this is completely tongue-in-cheek, but great to see you guys have named a racetrack after the greatest Australian horse ever to grace the turf in far lap. That we'll get the odd bite. Firstly, Timaru looks a lovely track. Whereabouts is it based?
So Timaru is about 2 hours south of Christchurch, along the eastern seaboard, I guess you could say, of Canterbury, heading down towards Otago. Beautiful part of the country, you know, a nice easy drive there from Christchurch, and a racetrack that's steeped in history basically just because of its name in a lot of senses. But South Canterbury's always been an integral part of harness racing in New Zealand, and they don't have as many meetings as what they used to, but that was a fantastic card that they had on Saturday with the Nursery Stakes and the Timaru Cup, and a fantastic undercard as well. So it was good to see, and I tell you what, they had a very, very good sized crowd there on Saturday too, which was awesome to see because you don't see that a lot these days at all-weather meetings that aren't at Addington or you know, the big tracks.
And there was an accident, I think, prior to it, which delayed the race meeting and delayed people getting there. So quite often, a lot of people turn around and go home. So that's probably another good tick and a good plus.
Yeah, I think it just shows the community support. Yeah, that accident was on the Rakaya Bridge, the main bridge of the South Island. There's only one other route across the Rakaya River, and that's inland through the gorge. So it tends to get a little bit rubbernecked because it's a one-lane bridge. So luckily it didn't hold the meeting up or cause any too bigger disruptions for horses and horse trainers getting there, but just enough to make it a later Saturday night for them all getting home, I think.
Yep, and they wouldn't have liked that. Noel Taylor got a winner. I think I saw there he's had 50 winners. I don't know a lot about Noel, but he won the first with Blair Orange in the sulky with Whispering Over. You jump in anytime there's anything you want to come in there. Brett and Timmy White, Oliver's Dream for Sarah O'Reilly, getting ready for the Junior Drivers Championship, that's coming up. Bobby Butt, Bob's having a good run. He's had a good day actually at Timaru.
Yeah, picked up a couple of winners. Surprisingly, neither with him driving. He was sitting in the stands watching.
Was he suspended? suspended or?
Oh, he might have been, actually, now that I think about it. But he's back now, I believe. So, yeah, he's doing a great job. He's got a great team. We've talked about him a bit obviously over the last month, and the way that he's going with his horses, and he's placing them well. And Sophia's Dream improved from a good second on debut to win on Saturday, so that was good to see.
Yep, and then the second of those winners, driven by David White, and I'll be interested to see your comments on David as a driver. If you're going to say anything, Christmas is coming, so be careful. You do have to sit down for Christmas dinner at some stage. But Bet and Win brought up its second win. Recently changed for 2 Bob's stable, but was a good win, good strong win with a mid-race move. Dave drove very confidently to put it into the race, and won very comfortably.
Yeah, he's a really nice horse. I think he's probably 12 months away from being a pretty good horse, but he showed on Saturday what he's capable of. They were having a few niggles with his feet and things like that, so they made the decision to send him out to Bob to a bit of straight line training and the beach work. And judging by what he did on Saturday, that was a good call. I know it was a big call for Stacey and David to make, because you've got a horse that's potentially going to chase Group 1 glory in 10 days' time in the New Zealand Trotting Derby, and you've gone out and selected him at the yearling sales and got a band of owners and that most trainers will want to see in their stable clients list, and to take it away from your stable and give it to someone else to train wasn't an easy decision. But they've got the full support of the team behind them, and including me old man, who somehow managed to get a share. I didn't get one. Thankfully, they put Marlene White in there, David's mum, so that boosted the ownership group up a little bit. And he'll go on and he'll do a nice job. He's going to go around again on Friday night as well. So pleased for them all. It was very cool.
Yeah, no, I put all the owners up there, and I did say there before about the NZB sale. Brecon Farms are offering up a full sister to this horse, which will be on the 18th of February, so make sure you keep an eye on that. Hanover Damoon I thought was actually quite good as well, a horse I don't know a lot about, but it actually did chase to the line very, very well as well. Ivan Court, Shepherd's Delight, Blair Orange, another of the winners. I think that was his second winner for the day in race number 5. Anything to add there?
He's a nice horse, Shepherd's Delight. He's got good stand-start manners, which are quite critical around Canterbury at this time of the year. If you've got them and you can ping onto the speed, you're halfway towards getting yourself a good check out of a race, especially when you got Blair sitting on the bike. Horse to back out of that, Woodbine Rocks, was very, very unlucky, the Lawrence Hanrahan trained runner.
He had one of those days, actually, Lawrence did, and we're going to highlight one of those races now. The nursery was the Bronson Transport Timaru Nursery, time-honoured race, got a good field of horses. Major Hot had to do a fair bit of work. That's him outside the leader now, but got the job done very, very comfortably.
He did, and he deserved, to win a race. He's run third in the Sire Stakes final on Cup Day behind some pretty nice ones. He did have to do it tough. Big run from the second horse, Dawson. It was only having its second race day start for Tony Stratford. So going to end up doing a really nice job there, and some nice runs in behind. Regazzo Major was there running into third, and I thought the run of It's Tough down the outside. Now, that was the 2-year-old that was formerly with Katie Cox.
Yep.
I thought it found the line really, really strongly for new co-trainer Colin DeFilippi. But yeah, Major Hot deserved that, and good reward to chase a nice stake on a Saturday afternoon at Timaru. What was that race with? 20,000. So there's 11k into the kitty for the ownership group.
Lawrence Hanrahan's horse, Mighty Flying Louis, didn't look comfortable. Worked out of the gate, didn't look comfortable at all in the run.
No, but even still turning for home, he looked like he was travelling pretty good, and Jimmy sort of reached for some gear and he just sort of didn't kick on. I know they asked for some tests to be done on the horse, or Lawrence was going to get some tests done on the horse, so hopefully he's all okay with him. And it's probably a big ask. He's come out of a maiden race and had to take on some pretty hardened 2-year-olds, so I wouldn't be dropping him just yet.
And a week turnaround too. I mean, he's gone from never having a race start to two in a week, so yeah, definitely a little bit on that. And Trent Yesberg's horse was pulled up out of that. The other feature for the day was the Summer Cup. Mark Jones, he's had a pretty good week, that's for sure. Winning races every week. You don't realise until you start churning them off, but they've had a great week, winning with Deny Everything, beating Tanzania, and Hellsberg for Robert and Jenna Dunn.
He's a really nice horse, Deny Everything, but we're never going to see the best of him. Unfortunately, he's had such an injury-plagued career. Some people will remember he come back onto the scene and he won 4 or 5 really, really quickly. And then he got injured again and he was off the scene for a long time. This sort of suggested to me that Mark and the team at Overport have done a super job with him. He was second up from a good spell, and he's beaten some nice horses here. I know he sat on the back of the leader throughout and only had to come off and had come across one set of wheels and run to the line, but it's a good effort. And if he's in this kind of form going forward, he could be a horse to really follow over summer because he's got raw talent. Almost became a bit of a non-race outside of the first 4 or 5 turning for home. No one really got moving. You can see Alta Meteor and the likes sort of finding the line nicely, but not really, attacking it like you'd expect when they stacked it up and sort of sprinted that last half. But all credit to the winner, Tanzania. That was a big effort from it. It was only having its 4th race day start. It's only a 3-year-old of Lawrence Hanrahan's, and it's still got a lot to learn, but judging by that performance, it's beaten home some pretty talented animals, so it's in for a good career.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned a few of those out the back, Altimedia and that, or just 28-6. Just seemed any of those horses that were wide, they lost a length and a half at the top of the lane, and they just could not make it up. They just seemed to flounder up the straight.
Yeah, it can be a hard track to make ground on sometimes, Timuro, especially if they're running even quarters up front and then they quicken from the 800. Yeah, you're having to come 5-6 wide around that bend. You're having to run some pretty ridiculous sectionals just to get yourself in contention, let alone win it. There will be plenty of winners come out of that race in the next month. Horses like Wheels of Fortune will improve. Franco Merritt will improve. Leicester, those sort of types are going to win races when they find the right race on the right track on the right day.
What else for those last 3 races? 3 names of trainers I don't know. Well, one gentleman I do, but Nigel Chalmers and Roger Austin, 2 people I don't know a lot about. Got the chockies, both of those Blair Orange in the cart on both occasions.
Yeah, I mean, Nigel's effort just for perseverance with Delness, Arizona. I'm sure he's torn his hair out more than once with the horse because it's probably flattered to deceive, but put Blair on and Blair's delivered the goods. Was one for the battlers, that one, that's for sure. There was a lot of well-raced racehorses in that race, and fought out a pretty competitive finish. But we were there only 5.5 lengths from 1st to 10th, so good even rating race. And then Roger Austin, Idle Shuatea, she's been a fantastic mare. Cross, she's done a good job. Beautiful gated trotter by Superfast Stewart, and she gets on the speed and gives herself a chance. But it's sort of become the Blair show at that point. He was just, going out there and winning.
Dolness, Arizona, I just counted up then, it's at the least 71 starts in between wins. So that is perseverance. So well done. we need people with that sort of perseverance to keep the racing stocks up.
Yeah, we do, and that rating 35 to 40 grade that we've got here in New Zealand is becoming quite competitive because there's quite a few horses in there, and you've got to be right at the top of your game to win. And Blair plotted a perfect path and got to success. And I think when he won on Idle Shuatea, that was 5 for the day, so a good day at the office for him. And then John Hay stepped out and won the last with another Sweet Lou and What a Blaze, who's won 2 in a row this time in.
Yeah, and he does a good job with his horses, John. He doesn't race them a lot, but when they do, they seem to be at the pointy end of the races.
You ask any horse person, particularly in Canterbury or even across New Zealand, who their top 10 drivers in New Zealand were, John Hay would be in pretty much everyone's list. He is probably the most underutilised by his own design driver in the country, but he's still capable of footing it in any big race or on any track in the country. There's no doubt about that. And an exceptional trainer. He turns his horses out. They are ready to win. Yeah,
a good form line. I'll tell you another form line I've worked out too. If they're in the first race, Greg and Nina Ben Hope in the sulky, they seem to win. When we went to Banks Peninsula, they won the first race. Quite regularly since we've been doing this show. First race, if they're in it, Mr. Love on Addington Cup Day, show day, sorry, they just seem to pop up at the right time. So if they're in race 1, number 1, get on.
Yeah, and they delivered again on Sunday, obviously, at Banks Peninsula as well with Love Looked In. This one's probably been knocking on the door of winning a race for a long time. I think there might be a half to this one in the sales next year too, out of its summertime. I think I saw its name being advertised somewhere. Yeah, but Ben and Greg and Nina obviously continue their great run. Ben's having a good season in the sulky, 36 wins, and Greg and Nina are lining a number of horses up at most meetings. So they're one stable that definitely fly over the Christmas New Year period.
Anything else out of Banks Peninsula?
There was some good racing throughout the day. I thought Dun Rocking was very good. He is a half brother to Shartin. who obviously went over to America and took the world by storm by a rock and roll dance. He's got a lot to learn, but you go and have a look at his win, and he could have won by a lot longer if he'd run straighter. Craig Thornley and Steve McRae currently in care of him. You go throughout the day, and there were some good performances. Harrison ran a 56 half on the grass to win with Carter. I think Carter grabbed a double there. He won a couple of races later with Better With Bling for Jesse Wetherell, which was a good moment because Better With Bling's been a consistent performer. And yeah, throughout the day. And then, of course, Hayden and Amanda in the last of the day with Daredevil. Now, I looked at this horse because it was boxed next to my horse on the day, and I was trying to figure out what it was by without looking at my race book. And when I saw it was by Sweet Lou, I couldn't believe it. He looks like a bull. The Sweet Lou's are generally, to me, those racy, really, not light framed, but they look light framed horses that are just speed. But he's got some power about him, and he had no right to win that race from where he was at the top of the straight on Sunday, but he stormed home and just run over the top of them for fun. And surprise, surprise, who's sitting in the bike? Blair Nathan Orange. Just kept off a good weekend, so he'll go on and do a good job there, Devil. I think they're finally getting things sorted with him, and he's a really, really nice horse.
Only lightly raced, brought up win number 2 from 8 starts. He's first for Hayden and Amanda, and I think he'd only had 2 starts. I did just have the form up in front of me. I think he's only had the 2 starts for them, so yeah, good to see them in the winner's circle. It's good to see them actually on show day, so yeah, we need as many trainers and that as we can. Rightio. Fields, what else we got? We'll go with the fields, and I'm going to be guided by you. We get Invercargill. Is there anything to look out at Invercargill?
It's just a nice meeting down there. They're keeping things ticking over.
Just for the record, Matty, Blair Orange has actually just tuned in, and I reckon there's only one Blair Orange on Facebook. So we've been rapping him, so we've got to make sure he's aware that we're onto him.
Yeah, well, it's pretty hard not to talk about him. He's generally winning 3 or 4 races a week at the moment, and in the case of last week, it was nearly 10. So he's down at Invercargill tomorrow again. Loves a trip down south, does Blair, but good card of racing down there throughout the day. Nothing really, really standing out. Nathan's got a nice team, and again, he's got a nice tropical flying without wings going around that would be worth a look at. But everything's sort of building down in that part of the world to Invercargill Cup Day, which is now under a month away. So looking forward to that.
And we're not trying to skim across a lot of these, but we will look at in-depth at Addington, and there's a couple of races we want to highlight as well. At the Mott, before we do finish, Auckland on the Friday night.
Yeah, they've got a very good
Thursday night.
Thursday night. Sorry, yeah, the Franklin Pacers Country Cup. Traditionally always been a very good horses race. It's been won by some nice horses in the past, and it's going to be won by some nice horses again this year. You got a number of them a couple of them that are dropping out of Cup Week form in both Bark and also Artie's Express, who last went round in the New Zealand Free for All on show day. All American Lovers there. You've got Magic 4, Simply Sam, Mickey Shan, Better Heist. So looking forward to that race. It'll be a cracking race on Thursday night, and be interesting to see how the 2 mares from Stonewall go. They're obviously got some big targets to chase in the coming months, with the Group 1 Queen of Hearts not that far away. So Zachary Butcher takes the drive on Artie's Express this week, and Dad David's on board All American Lover. So looking forward to seeing them go around.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few horses. Magic 4, as you said, that was a horse that we highlighted a couple of weeks ago, and Matty White retains the drive there as well, which is good.
Probably also worth noting too that Love Me Too is going around in the last of the night, who the Australians got to lock eyes on when he was over in Australia recently. Yeah, and he's a serious horse. Obviously, having his final preparation run before he comes south for the New Zealand Trotting Derby on Sunday week, so that adds a little bit of spice to the late stage of the night.
The other horse there is All Cashed Up, who we highlighted how good he was going, and then unfortunately jumped it off, and he's been a little bit between runs, I believe. So yeah, he's another interesting runner. Standing starts, Auntie's Forte Eva. Sorry, mate, I threw back. Hopefully there wasn't a beer can you were into, but it doesn't matter if you were. I'm okay.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It's about 27 degrees in Methven today, and I'm just keeping hydrated.
It's the same here, but Mildura Harness have already been called off for a bad storm, and I think it's not far off hitting us. here in sunny Victoria as well. So it is, it's that time of year. Rightio. Addington, Friday night, massive meeting. It starts off with a really good 3-year-old trot, the first race for the night. That horse we mentioned there before, Mr. Love, steps up, but it's a good field.
It is, it's almost a little New Zealand trotting derby prelude, I guess you could say, because most of these horses will be looking to return Sunday week for the Group 1. You've obviously got Create Time, who's been so good winning 2 from 2, of course winning on Cup Day. Mr. Love, who was brilliant winning on Show Day. And then you've got Gold Bullion, who I thought was the benchmark of the 3-year-old trotters in this country, but disappointing in the Hambletonian. Be interesting to see how he goes. And then, of course, you've got Bet and Win, who we talked about earlier on in the show.
Yep, What the Bell's shown ability too, so it's a good little field, that, isn't it?
It is. It'll be a nice wee start to the night, actually.
The ANZ Ford Aces All In 2-year-old fillies race. I keep saying about the depth in your 2-year-old fillies. We're talking about this horse yesterday. Treacherous Love was a few of these treacherous horses we can't remember. Our Shangri-Lana, I'll go with. Good field, and I imagine a lot of these horses will be backing up for the Aces as well.
Yeah, they will. It's almost, as I say, the prelude meeting to what follows 9 days later. Good wee field that. Obviously, our Shangri-Lana brings Group 1 winning form into it, but you've got Treacherous Baby in there. Treacherous Love showed at Ashburton how good she is. And you've also got Madrid, who was so good behind our Shangri-Lana. Get a massive swing and draws this week. And from the ace, you would almost suggest that she might be the horse to beat in that field.
Great to see Samantha Otley keeping the drive there. I presume drivers have been declared, but she's, because I think she drove it last week on Show Day. That was the only horse they had in that race. So good to see Mark and Nathan, the All Stars team, sharing a few of those drives around.
Yeah, I think Sam was booked to drive the horse quite early on in the campaign by owner Jean Face, and they've stuck with her, and they're not far away. Hard to believe that the horse is still a maiden, actually, given the way that it's run in its career, but gets a good chance to drop that maiden status on Friday night, that's for sure. We
can probably skip over this next race, the Hydra Flow, hilarious gift, 3-year-old classic. This doesn't have the orange. This is just an amazing field of 3-year-old fillies.
Oh, incredible! It's a little bit of a second round after what we saw on Cup Day with Millwood Nike winning. We got Mantra Blue, who was obviously so good behind her. Then you add in the likes of Artie by the Seaside, Carlo Flyby, Amore Infida. Good race this. Good race. I'm looking forward to this one. Millwood Nike will have to be exceptional again from 9. Obviously, she's got some big target coming up on Grand Prix Day as well with the Oaks. But, Mantra Blue might get her a chance to really try and beat her this week. I'm not saying she will, but she gets a really good chance to do it.
No, I'm not picking on you. It's just amazing when you got horses like Clue Fly by what they were able to do last year. Treacherous Girl, end of last year, started this season as well, and even the likes of Wicked Wonder. That's the depth in this field. These horses are actually going okay, but just the depth in the 3-year-old fillies in New Zealand is just outstanding.
Yeah, and I think, because the top of the pile is so strong in Millwood Nike, it makes it harder to get a line on where the rest of them at. But they'll all end up going on and doing a big job themselves once they get out of age group racing and drop into mares races or whatever. So, looking forward to seeing if we can turn Sweet 16 into 17 on Friday night.
Yep, no, absolutely. And I presume Mark's going to retain the drive?
I would presume so, yeah. I would think that'll be how things will unfold.
We don't have to tell HRNZ what to do, but off the depth of that 3-year-old fillies race, these 4-year-old and older mares races are going to be so imperative to keeping horses racing in Australia. And nice bunch of mares, race number 4.
Yeah, it is, and it probably looks small on paper, but you've got to remember that the better mares are actually now getting ready for an Auckland Group 1 assault, so that's why it's probably a little bit lighter in numbers, and of course being only up to a rating 60, it kind of restricts those really good ones out, but it's a nice race all the same. I'll be interested to see Ali Franco go around. She was held in pretty high regard by the Stephen McRae stable during her last campaign and strung 2 good wins together, so she'll have to be at the top of her game. There's some pretty hard on mares there.
The Lone Stars 2-year-old trot, 2-year-old trotting championship. We've said it a few times about the depth in the 2-year-old trotters in New Zealand. A couple have made their way to Australia. Hasn't hurt the depth in fields and the depth in quality in the 2-year-old trotters that are in New Zealand at the minute.
No, it hasn't. You take Kid Up out of them, who's obviously in Queensland now and set to do his racing from there. This is an intriguing race. I've looked at this race quite a bit since the field's come out and gone, how am I going to figure this one out? Because there's winning form or really good form for a lot of them. Wilmer's Boy has got so much talent, but the gate's not there yet, judging by what he did at Rangiora last week. Empire City was stunning, winning the other day at Ashburton. Princess Sadie's been so consistent. Then you go to the second line, you've got Paramount Lady, who we just talked about, and Look to the Stars, who was such a good winner too back. Manners will be the key for this one, I think, Paul. And whoever does it right is going to be most of the way towards success.
A little horse we highlighted as well, Judy G. I think it was Ashburton, flew home. Looks like a real professional horse and just continues to get the job done. I think it was Empire City that went past it, but didn't shirk the issue. Had no right to run second and found the line terrific.
Yeah, and a lot of the other ones outside of those ones that we've talked about have shown a bit of form at times during their career. Little Whip went a massive race, 3 starts back. Father Time's been right there throughout, So an intriguing race, that one. And it might just help settle the debate of where things sit with Head 'em Up having left the country.
Yep, and a couple of the others as well. So, yeah, the What the Hill New Zealand Trotting Oaks, good field of 3-year-old trotting fillies. High energy. There is heaps of high quality trotters. I'm just seeing to see, is my horse in there? She's Bella. There she is there for Dylan Ferguson's a horse that they've always had a nice opinion of this horse and probably gets a chance there from the draw.
Yeah, she does. She gets a chance to get onto the speed. This is a really good field. There's a lot of winning chances here. High energy, obviously, is the benchmark. But, she's got to come back and show that she's capable. What I will say is that another runner in this race, High Intensity, actually sat on her back at the trials last week and run past her. Now, High Intensity is had 5 starts. Sarah O'Reilly for Petra Luzamova. Very, very nice horse. Could be the surprise packet in this race for me, to be fair. You've got the enigmatic Sunny Sister, who we know has got the ability, but the gate's not quite there on race day, Walking on Sunshine. The Ivy League for Blair and Paul as well. So it's a very good field. And again, if She's Bella can get on the front end and bowl them along, she might take some catching.
Yeah, Walking on Sunshine, Tommy Baggery unfortunately had to scratch her from the Cup Carnival on that occasion, so hopefully he's got everything right. There was nothing major, she just wasn't quite right, so he's saved her for this, so hopefully he can get her there. The Ivy League always seems to draw terrible in the better races, if you like. But Sunny Sister, that's just got to be a shocking draw. I don't know what you think, Matty, but for a filly like her, it's got to be a terrible draw for her, I would have thought.
Yeah, it probably is, but then again, it could actually end up being a godsend. I don't know whether she's better when she's in and amongst trotters trotting and that, or it's when she gets into a bit of clear air that she gets a bit panicky, but we know she's got the ability. She's got to be a frustrating horse for them. I know there was a report that I heard from Nigel Armstrong at the beach on Saturday morning that they've been very happy with her work on the beach. It was just getting her to convert that to race day.
Yeah, she's a troublesome child, but that's okay. The 3-year-old Colts and Geldings, we said there before about the run Arna Donnelly's had. Jollymont's been just terrific this year. Gets a good draw. This is a good race. There's so many horses with good ability. There's so many horses in this race with terrific gate speed. It's going to be a battle of tactics. There's going to be a lot going on, and you just sort of think to yourself, don't stop dreaming. Just going to sit back and enjoy it and probably get over the top of them all.
Yeah, him and Merlin. That was exactly the way that I looked at it too. There's going to be a bit of speed here early, although there is a New Zealand Derby in 9 days' time after this race. So I don't think anyone will be wanting to go to the well too deep, but you've got plenty of speed there. Sooner the better. Wagstar, we know he likes to get out. We know Who's Delight likes to get onto the top end. So I'd imagine there will be some pressure early, and probably means that Mark and Zachary don't have to worry too much early. They can just slot in and look to get in and get over the top of them late. And we know they're capable of doing that because that's what they've done pretty much throughout their careers.
Yeah, and Blair Orange on Coney Island. Lou Carter sticking with Franco Sinatra. I think this is the first time they've met, but normally Carter's been sticking with Coney Island Lou against the other stablemates.
Yeah, Franco Sinatra's probably the better of the pair at this stage. Coney Island Lou looked like he was in for a big season, but probably just hasn't quite pressed on with it. But you said it yourself, Paul. You can make a case for any horse in that race. They've all got some form to speak of in their last half a dozen starts.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a rap for horses like Wagstar and that. And, Triple G was good, winning on show day last week as well. You couldn't knock him either. As well, the trotting mares, race number 8 at 8:30. good little field. Hopefully for Kimberly Butt, Euro Style can get the chockies. I'm not there to interview her, so it's a chance, because every time I'm there to interview her, seems to run second. Galway Girl was terrific. I Dream of Jeannie, a bit enigmatic, I Dream of Jeannie, but a nice horse on its day. Good field.
Very good field. You've got Resolve, who run third in the Dominion Handicap at her last start. Time Up the Hill was fifth in the same race. Galway Girl was so good, winning on show day. Euro Style was excellent, running second to her. Then you've got Hidden Talent, who at one stage was the best trotting mare in the country. She's got to earn that title back again, but she is capable of doing it. She's a very high-speed mare. Good race this. I reckon they will absolutely roll along here, and that may just set it up for those back ones that have got a bit of speed, the Euro Styles, the Galway Girls, and Time Up the Hills and the Resolves.
I was going to say, you can't ever rule out Paul Nan in these sort of races. When you were going through all those other ones. Now, I've worked out one thing. The Gold Band taxis are the local taxi company, and they always seem to get the last race, which is good for them. This is what's this, a rating 65 race, and a couple of nice horses in this. I would imagine some of these are getting themselves ready for Grand Prix week as well, Mr. Cashman and the likes.
Yeah, there'll be lower grade races on the day that they can sort of slot themselves into, I'd imagine. Some of them will head towards Country Cups races post this meeting. It is a good wee field. Deceptive Lee's an interesting horse, was once nominated for the New Zealand Trotting Cup, has a lot of high speed, was in that funny Timaru Cup on Saturday. You've got Lone Wolf, who's got any amount of ability there. He's Tough, who of course was such a popular winner during Cup week, and Dashing Major drops out of the Timaru Cup as well. So it is a good wee field. It'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. But I reckon I'll get to about the end of race 8 and just want to take a big deep breath, Paul, after what's happened before that, because there's a lot to consume in that card leading into that last race of the night.
Yeah, there is indeed, and plenty going on. Okay, so then we've got 2 grass track meetings towards the end of the week. Akaroa back onto the Saturday. I think that didn't happen last year. It's moved to a different Saturday, Akaroa Cup meeting. I was there for that meeting. Had the joy of falling down the stairs face first. That was one of my claim to fame, and lucky enough about 30 people saw it, took the knees out and everything at the Akaroa meeting. It's strange the things that come up. Is that their cup meeting?
It is, yeah. They race once a year. They'll have a big crowd out there for Akaroa Cup Day. Yeah, a bit of an anomaly, but we did used to see it quite a lot with Banks Peninsula and Geraldine racing on the same weekend. Obviously, there's enough horses around at the moment. The feature race on Saturday is the Akaroa Cup, first of the country cups of prominence in the Canterbury area. Got some nice horses going around in there. Franco Indy drops out after his big win during Cup week. Leicester, who's done such a good job and is a former winner on the track as well, and Homebush Lad, who's a bit of a grass track toff. So they're racing for 20,000 there on Saturday. It's their, as I say, their annual meeting of the year, so it'll be a big day out there for the team at Akaroa, I'm sure. I
can say I went to Akaroa. Got to be careful how you say this, but with the mighty Cambrai. But what a beautiful little township that is. It's a good place to take the girlfriend or the boyfriend or whichever way you want to go. There, it's a lovely little place. So it's a nice part of the world.
It is, yeah, it is, and they've got a really good relationship with their community when it comes to sponsorship, and they've put up some good stakes. I was having a look before. There's a 6-year-old and older trot for 17,500 at that meeting on Saturday. It's called they were calling it the Akaroa Aged Trot. Now, you don't see that very often over here, the older horses getting to run for that kind of stake money. Unfortunately for them, they should have got a full field, but they've only got 11 horses going around in it. So good on them for putting up a stake for the older horses and giving them something to chase on a Saturday afternoon.
What race number?
Race 10. 6-year-old and older, 35 to 57 special handicap, 17.5K.
Wow. And they put that up on themselves. I see Michael House has spotted it. He's made sure he's got one in there. There would have been a few people that would have caught him by surprise, I reckon, that race.
Yeah, would have. I was a bit surprised because I was having a look through before. I was trying to figure out why there wasn't more horses in it. And there's a number of horses racing over the weekend that are racing for lower stakes at other meetings that could have been in that race. So I don't know whether it's the handicaps or the 2,800 metres, which can be a little bit tricky for them at some times.
No, absolutely. And then, Meth and Mate, you're playing at home on Sunday. And I did the wrong thing. I expanded all the fields before I looked to see how many races there were. 11 races. and all big fields. So one from the club's point of view, they'll be wrapped.
Yeah, they will. It's one of their bigger meetings of the year. They hold 2 races that are known as the Green Miles, that have been won by some really nice horses over the years. They used to have bonuses attached to both these races if you could break what was believed to be the grass track world record for a mile. And I think the day that they stopped doing it was the day that Ricky May, who may have been president of the club at the time, won both Green Miles and broke both records, so therefore cost the club a whole heap of money. I'm pretty sure the next committee meeting there was some discussions about Ricky having to pay the bonus out of his own pocket, but pretty sure the club did in the end. But yeah, they got 2 really good races. Time Up the Hill's actually engaged there as well. She's obviously nominated for Friday night, but Oscar Bonavina goes round in a race number 8, which is now the Dancing in the Dark at Aldebaran Park Green Mile Trot. Now, speaking to some members of the club, they wanted me to express their thanks to Duncan McPherson and the team at Aldebaran Park, because this sponsorship's only come about in the last 10 days to a fortnight. But Duncan was keen to get on board, and Spruik Dancing in the Dark, who I don't know a lot about as a stallion. I presume you'll know a lot more about him, Paul, than I do. But they were very indebted to Duncan and the team at Aldebaran for jumping on board and sponsoring what is going to be another really good edition of the race. You've got Mystic Max, Confessional, so there's some nice horse flesh there. And then obviously you go to the Pacers Green Mile and we see Ahoka Connor, Franco Marek, Jimmy James Maguire, Franco Norton, who I think is a really interesting runner in that race. He loves a grass track and has very, very high speed. So they're 2 $25,000 races on the grass on a Sunday afternoon. So nice stake for the connections of those horses to chase.
It's quite interesting. We would never see a horse like Ahoka Connor race in the grass here in Australia, and it is not alarm bells or anything for you guys in New Zealand. It's just that's what happens. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, well, he would have had the option to go to the Ian Dobson Memorial Classic on Friday night and take on some of those other 3-year-olds leading into the Derby. So it's a little bit of a, how do you put it, unconventional pathway towards a Group 1 New Zealand Derby for a 3-year-old to take on a free-for-all grass track mile, but that's where they feel he's best served to be ready for that race. So he adds a bit of spice to the race, that's for sure, because we know he's such a very, very good horse.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just trying to... I didn't write. That's what I was like, what happened to me Aldebaran part? I was trying to bring up Dancing in the Dark to see what he is by. There is, while I do that, I do know that there is a tie with Sundon and the carryover of that whole history there with that horse. I think it's the Gee Whiz component of him that he fits in so well with the horses in New Zealand. Michael House was pretty quickly onto that, and then a few other people have said the same thing. I've brought his name up, but it won't bring up his pedigree just to make it trickier for me. But yeah, he's a high class horse. I forget what he's by though. That's it's not showing me. I'm going to say he's a Cantab Hall horse, but he may be not.
I'm trying to bring him up as well, and he's just popped up. Brilliant young American trotter Dancing in the Dark to stand at Aldebaran Park. He's the 4th fastest trotting stallion of all time, and the fastest 2-year-old trotter to come to Australia. There you go.
Yep, definitely. And I think I just saw there that he's by Andover Hall, but I don't think that's right. I'm going to have to check. Can't believe I can't find that right page, but that's okay.
No, he is the first son of the mighty Readily Express from Sweden.
Yes, thank you. And of course, that Readily Express is a son of Reddy Cash, who passed away earlier this year. So generally, they go on to bigger and better things when that happens to them as well. I do know that, and Duncan's very, very keen on it. We finally, I haven't had to be sidetracked by any comments coming in this time, Matty. I've had it all under control. Tyler Dew, who had a winner this week, he's chimed in with an hello. So hello to you, mate. He watches most of my stuff, so we might have caught him at a funny time today.
He's got a horse in tomorrow at Invercargill called Scruffy, first up for his stable. Now, hasn't got a lot of exposed form. I do see that the king of content is in the ownership of said horse, Johnny Turner. I think it's opened at $1.45 to win. So where there's smoke, there's fire, perhaps, with Scruffy first up from Tyler's stable tomorrow. Yeah, did get a winner over the past week with Oh No Nana, who joined his stable not that long ago either. So,
And
yeah, doing a good job.
Rory in the sulky too. Another winner for Rory, so which is good to see as well.
Yeah, and everyone would have heard about it, I'm sure, knowing Rory.
He knows that. The king of content, he's sunning himself in sunny Western Australia at the minute, I believe. I don't know if he's back yet, but he took off for a little trip to Western Australia, enjoying some of the hospitality over there.
Hard-working man, Johnny Turner. He does a great job on his own Facebook page and through the various other media outlets that he works for. So I'm sure he deserves that break. I'm looking forward to having mine in Central Otago after Christmas. So I'm counting down the days pretty quickly, Paul.
Well, we're going to go live with our show there as well. We're going to have a bit of fun with the show in that carnival. We're going to actually go live next week. I believe Sunday morning or Saturday afternoon, one of the two will go live. Johnny's going to be with us, probably Saturday afternoon, we think, and get some guests in. I think you said we'll be at Geraldine maybe, and be able to stream it live from there and have a little bit of content and get the New Zealand show, just a bit of a different look. So that'll be next week. So we won't be doing it Tuesday. It'll be one day next week. We'll get there and recap over some of these good wins, but highlight what's going to be a ripper day, Grand Prix day. Comes around very quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're sort of just getting yourself picked back up from Cup Week, and then all of a sudden you've got this meeting to look forward to, and then it really just doesn't stop for the next 3 months. From a Canterbury point of view, anyway, there's racing everywhere, and it's busy. It's busy. There's three meetings a week on average, pretty much now in Canterbury throughout to February. So. It's my time of the year. I love it. Love getting out and heading to some of those places and, seeing tracks that you don't go to every week throughout the year and going to their one day a year meetings and taking them in. So looking forward to it.
No, absolutely. Remiss of me not to remind people about the Katie Cox, donating. Make sure you get get there and donate for the Katie Cox Foundation. I haven't had any updates, but that's saying it can be good. So that's a good sign that we don't. And don't forget the junior drivers. Don't have them up at the minute. I'll see if I can quickly get them up. Driving at Queensland, because the Inter-Dominion does start this Saturday night. On Loose Lines, we'll have. We're going to do a bit of a preview, but just a bit unfortunate with it. Doesn't have those New Zealand horses. There's not a lot of Victorian horses going as well. Just misses a little bit, Matty.
It does. I would have loved to have seen some of these open class trotters that we've got over here that have had to chase around the likes of Muscle Mountain and Oscar Bonavina had the opportunity to go over, because I think some of them would have been very, very competitive. But we've got to get these calendars sorted out, Paul, I guess is the easiest way to do it, because we don't want to be clashing with each other. And, for a Kiwi connections of a horse, it's much easier to stay here and target races like, Grand Prix Day and then on to the Invercargill Cup, if you like, for 100,000 at the end of December, than, pay the expenses of going over to race in a series in Australia, which has obviously comes at a big cost.
I'm going to give a little drive-by, Matty. I just had a look then, and the heats are on Friday night. Queensland's number one harness meeting is a Saturday night, yet they're on the Friday night, which is snuck in under the radar for me. I didn't realise that, but there might be a reason for it, but it's a bit unusual.
I can't say that I would have thought they would have been Saturday night, and then, but I guess they've got to span those races out with enough gaps, throughout the series. So, but yeah, those junior drivers are over. I think do they kick off on the 5th?
Must do. Yep.
Of December, I think. Yep. I think they drive at 3 meetings, all culminating at Albion Park on Inter-Dominion Grand Final night.
Yeah, and there's plenty of NZs after a lot of the names. Just looking there in heat number 1, Tommy Lincoln, I Cast No Shadow, Northview, Hustler, Rock and Roll, Do, Spirit of St. Louis. Some nice representation. Ooh, and Targaryen as well. So I'll be in trouble there. So 3/4 of that field have got the NZ moniker after them, and that's only one of the races. So huge representation. So good luck to all the breeders. With yearling sales coming up and that, they're the sort of updates that people want with their progeny, especially if they're trying to sell them.
Yeah, exactly. And it is a good time in that sense, with the yearling sales starting to ramp up. Obviously, we're not too far away from them, so some of those Kiwi breeds, and love to see as many Australian harness buyers over in New Zealand as what we saw Hong Kong thoroughbred buyers at the Ready to Run sale last week, because they spent up large. So be a nice wee string to the bow to add to the yearling sales over here. But I'm sure, I've only had a cursory look through the book, but gee, there's some nicely bred talent in there.
It's scary when you pick it up and do start looking through it. James Jennings and Cambrai were over for Breeders' Crown. They actually come to Bendigo and we had a freak storm, so they ended up staying in Bendigo to go out to the races on what was going to be Breeders' Crown consolation night. They realised there was a mistake there, HRV did, because you can't have your consolations before your finals because they should be in case the emergencies get a run. So they changed that, so it's become a little bit of a nondescript meeting. There was one race, they said, oh no, we'll go, we'll still come out. Got hit by the biggest storm ever, and I got a message as I was trying to get to the track with a horse engaged that, yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. They had no intentions there. Did the interview, and I just spoke to James, and I asked him in the interview, but I also asked him prior to it. They didn't expect that. They did not expect that sort of a result, which is just huge, and hopefully that does give some confidence for everyone going forward.
Well, I hope it does. And, we've talked a lot about some of the positive changes that are happening in the game over here with Entain coming on board. And we've already seen stake levels go up. And, I think they're marked to go up again at some point in the next 6 months. So there's a little bit to be excited about. And I get really annoyed with people that say the game's dying because, they've been saying it for 30 years and it's still here. It's still kicking. There's still, I think, 3 meetings in Canterbury this week, and there was over 420 nominations, individual nominations across the 3 meetings. So the sport is still strong in parts, and there's a platform there from which we can build it and continue to grow it. So Entain gives us some positivity that we really need, and hopefully we can just grow, and that kicks off really with what happens at the yearling sales at both Karaka and in Christchurch in February next year.
Yep, no, and we're both singing from the same hymn book there, mate. I get so frustrated with this constant, the game's buggered. A broken clock is right twice in a day. They keep saying these people sometimes might be right with some of the stuff they say. Don't listen to them. Just be positive. There's so many great races. Have a look at, what do you got, 8 race meetings again this week? You had 7 last week. No, only 5 this week. But some cracking races, 2 grass track races, and then leading into another massive carnival the following weekend. So it's all onward and upward. And then, as you said, you'll get a couple of days recovery after Grand Prix. Get yourself ready for the big summer racing either on the north or down in central Otago. So it's going to be a lot of fun, both sides of it. Matty, as always, mate, thank you very much. Thanks for taking the time too. I do appreciate you helping me out with these shows. I really do. So really appreciate it. And yourself, me, and Johnny Turner will be live, hopefully from Geraldine on the Saturday. We'll get some of the trainers and drivers who got horses in. Could be a big show. Something very different for people in the harness world to get behind. And really look forward to it. So thanks very much, mate.
No worries. Looking forward to catching up again with you on the right side of the Tasman Sea next week, Paul. And yeah, as I say, we should be able to have a really good show next week, especially if we're down at Geraldine, which I know is a place you've never been before. So it's a bit of a unique track. So looking forward to showing you around there.
Good as gold. Thanks, man.
Beauty.